What's up, y'all? Naturegirl 30 here. And I've decided to actually do a random review on a Netflix series that just came out this Friday. Well, this past Friday, G.L.O.W. Now, as a wrestling fan and a child of the 80s, I really do appreciate and absolutely love this series. Now, this is an inspiration of the actual wrestling series that was created around the early 80s called Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. And that was actually inspired from that. It's not based on any of the characters that were actually on the original show. This is kind of it was inspired by it, but it's kind of more fiction based ish. But other than that, it's still a really good tale. It's really a good show to watch. So one thing I loved about it, and I know I've actually seen this done by most movie reviewers instead of wrestling fans, that even the movie reviewers are saying that they absolutely love the fact that when it's based on the 80s, they stick to the whole 80s trope. That you don't see a cell phone there, you don't see any modern amenities. This is straight up 80s. Like, you actually go back in time and you see everything based on 80s. And as an 80s child, I absolutely love it because it brings back so many memories for me. I remember the fact that there were no cell phones. I remember the fact there was no internet. And I remember the fact that for those that actually did have money, had a VCR or a Betamax. And if you didn't, you just missed the show. Like, there was rarely any reruns. If you missed that show that first time, that's it. So it brought back a lot of memories for me because I remember that as a kid. But the one thing that I remember about G.L.O.W. is I was 8 years old when I saw it for the first time. That was in 1988. I actually saw it on, I think it was a Tennessee Access channel, because I went to go visit my aunt that summer. And it was around 2 a.m. when it came on. And I was like, I couldn't sleep one night. It was far too hot. And I was like, I just couldn't stand it. So I turned on my television set. I switched a few channels. And boom, it was right there. I was floored seeing women, all women, wrestling on screen with the most outlandish storylines I have ever seen in my life, and all the over-the-top characters that I've ever heard. And as an 8-year-old, I was floored. I absolutely loved it. It came on once a week. It came on at 2 a.m., but for some strange reason, it was like maybe the fourth week, it wasn't on there anymore. It actually got taken off and got put in place for Jerry's Kids, and then the following week it got put in place for another telethon, a Christian telethon. I was so angry because I was like, it's gone. It was awesome, and it's gone. I only saw like 3 weeks worth. That's like maybe 3 Raws or 3 SmackDowns, and I was so disappointed. But around that time when I was 8, I absolutely had the wonderful experience to know that women can do the exact same thing that men could. And for G.L.O.W., in my humble opinion, this set the tone for Shimmer. It set the tone for women of ROH, and it even set the tone for the women's division in WWE today, or in the Knockouts division in TNA. That's just my opinion. I really think that actually set the tone for it, or at least became the inspiration to start that off, because these women want to be taken seriously. As for this show, now I know I'm going off of a tangent here, but there is some sort of a parallel to what I'm saying. Now, when it comes to the actual series, it starts off with Alison Brie. For those that don't know who Alison Brie is, she's actually on Community, and that's what I remember the most from. And I think some people said that she was on Mad Men as well. Well, from what I've heard. But other than that, I remember her from Community. She actually does play the lead actress, Ruth. And Ruth, well, she plays a struggling actress named Ruth, who is absolutely trying to find the next gig so she'll be able to feed herself, because she absolutely is struggling to feed herself. So she ends up coming across a gig that is done by Mark Maron's character, and he actually is trying to create a wrestling show called G.L.O.W. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. He's trying to get that whole thing started. She's in there trying to be an actress. She gets serious at a gig, but as time goes on, you see her character growing. Now, there is a huge plot complex, if that's a way of saying. There's a huge plot point in her life that pretty much is the center point of this entire series for her personal world. What I mean by that, and without spoiling it, there's a huge amount of drama in her life that really does kind of reflect her character as a whole, as a wrestler. And as you see the episodes go on, and I've only seen 6 so far, she really does grow as a person, and I absolutely appreciate her. And honestly, it is a fun ride. The characters themselves are very interesting, just like how it is in wrestling. Everybody loves their particular character that they love. It's because of how interesting that character is. For those who are fans of Roman Reigns, like Roman Reigns because of this, John Cena because of this, Sasha Banks because of this. That the same thing with this show. Every single woman on this show has something interesting about their life outside and inside of the ring that makes you want to watch more. It's not so much of the main cast. It's the supporting cast that's interesting as well. You see the struggles of everybody and what they go through day in, day out, on and off the screen. Even for the struggles between Ruth and her best friend, and there's a huge conflict with them, but then you see how they grow as time goes on. And I love that. And for those that think this is just a big bowl of cheesiness, I'm going to tell you, this is wrestling approved. There's a massive amount of wrestling cameos in the first 5 episodes alone. We got Johnny Mundo. We got Alex Riley. We got Joey Ryan that comes from Lucha Underground. And we also got Carlito, who is jacked, by the way. I had to take a double take to see him because I didn't know who that was until I had to take a second look, and it was him. Then you saw Brodus Clay up in there, and that's 5 so far. And then you got one of the main characters, Awesome Freaking Kong. Yes, you got 6 cameos of wrestlers in the first 5 episodes alone. And you got Awesome Kong playing one of the supporting leads. And she's good at it. And she looks amazing, I might add. And all I can say is if you got 6 wrestlers in the first 5 episodes alone, this shows that even wrestlers appreciate this, especially women wrestlers, man. So I'm thinking that it's not so much of thinking. Should be a must for every wrestling fan out there who are a fan of wrestling as a whole. They should watch this. Yes, there are some wrestling fans that are not so keen on the women's division as a whole right now. But it's not so much about the women's division as a whole right now. You're going to see the dynamic of what you see now to what they thought of it then. And that's the one thing. It makes your brain go. And I absolutely love it. It just makes you think a lot more about it. So for a wrestling fan, my advice to you is to go in with an open mind watching this. And you will absolutely see for yourself not only the dynamic of how the women's wrestlers were treated back then, but also how they came leaps and bounds now. And the characters themselves will make you hooked and make you interested to find out what's going to happen next. So as a wrestling fan, I'm going to continue watching this, and I implore every wrestling fan out there, whether they're woman or man, and if you have little ones, don't watch it with them. I'm just going to say that. Don't watch it with them. Just if you have a moment to yourself and you're an adult, watch it by yourself. But other than that, I still implore every wrestling fan out there to take a look at this and just go in with an open mind, man, because you'll enjoy it, seriously. But other than that, y'all, I am done here. If you have seen it, by all means, let me know. I am curious to hear y'all's thoughts. I would love the interaction. Leave in the comments below and let me know how you feel about it, whether or not it's a thumbs up or thumbs down. I might just leave a vote thing on the side somewhere just to see what y'all's thoughts are. But other than that, guys, I am done here. Peace out. I will see y'all later.